everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome to the last segment of my 20 games that changed my life. Now, if you've seen the title of this, you already know what the game is. It's Ticket to Ride. And this one may seem like an odd one, and it's an odd one to end on because it's harder for me to look at games in the last 5 or 10 years and see how they've changed my life until I jump farther ahead in the future. But Ticket to Ride was something that I think about quite often. People ask me how I got to where I am now, and as a board game reviewer. And a lot of times, I'll talk about things like, hey, you got to work really hard. You got to work when you don't feel like working. You got to review and do a good job. You got to be excited and interesting and passionate and blah, 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 blah. But there's no question that sometimes you just need a break. And Ticket to Ride was my break, in a sense. It also kind of motivated me to do several things. When I was first starting to write reviews, I wrote reviews. It never even occurred to me that companies might send me a game to review. And after a while, after I reviewed like 40 games, a few companies sent me games, and I thought, oh, well, maybe I should hunt down a few games and look for them. And there was a new company called Days of Wonder, and I hunted down a game called Fist of Dragonstones from them. I emailed them and asked if I could review the game, and they called me in Korea, where I was living at the time. And the person said, we just wanted to make sure you were a legitimate person. This was Eric Hodemont, the head of Days of Wonder, and that kind of blew my mind that the publisher would talk to me. Well, this same publisher emailed me and said, I'm going to check out the factories we have making our games in China, and I want to swing by and visit you guys when I come through Seoul. Fantastic. So he did. He stopped through Seoul, Eric did, and he showed us this brand new game, Ticket to Ride. I remember distinctly the first time we went to play it. It was in his hotel room. He laid the game out on his bed. Me and my friend were there, and we played a 3-player game of Ticket to Ride. He set it up, and I thought, this doesn't really look like much, and he was talking about how this could be a pretty big game. We played it, and my mind was blown. This was a fantastic game. The next day, he came and visited us where I lived, and we played it again. And so I wrote a review of it. He let me keep this game, and I wish I still had it because it was a prototype box. It was one of the first copies of Ticket to Ride that exists. I feel like it would be worth something at this point, not money-wise, but like just, wow, that's a cool thing to have. And I played a lot of this game, and I wrote a review, called it that it was going to be the Spiel des Jahres winner, and it certainly was. But that review really helped me out a lot. That review was a big game that I had the clear first review of it out there, got a lot of attention and really helped me out. And it also showed me, hey, this board game publisher, who I thought big board game publishers, they're just guys running these small companies. And I got to meet a publisher and deal with somebody from that level and form a relationship with that person. And as time went by, other publishers visited Korea. When I went back to America, I was able to meet them and all. And as time went by, I've dealt with a lot of different publishers, and I've reviewed a lot of games. And sometimes I get the first review up. Sometimes it's not till the 10th. I'm not the 10th or 20th person to get a review up about a game. It doesn't matter as much to me anymore. But it was that one break there. And sure, it probably would have happened through another game at some point. But Ticket to Ride was a big deal for me. It was that game that I championed, the game that, if you've never played games before, this is the game. It was my Catan in many ways, and I was so excited about it, and it really helped our channel. This was before YouTube, but when the other Ticket to Ride games came, and I showed them off on YouTube, and I went back and re-reviewed the original game, and just recently I did a ranking of all the Ticket to Ride games, and it kind of helped my reputation a little bit as a reviewer, whether for good or for ill. And so that's one of the games that changed my life. I hope you've enjoyed this series as I went back and looked at games from my childhood up till now. Maybe I'll do more of it in the future when I look back and find more games. And I could have talked about many different games throughout my life that have done many things. And at the end of the day, it's people who influence you more than games. I just thought this would be an interesting subject to talk about. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been 20 Games That Changed My Life.